just crashed. Russian stock market went kaput. Minus 10%, minus 10%, 11, 12, 9%, yeah. Russian stock market crash comes after the Public Council of the Kherson region has asked the head of the region, Volodymyr Saldo, to urgently hold an immediate referendum on Russia's accession. Yes, so Russia is asking the occupied territories, or some of them at least, the ones that are loyal to Russia, if they want to join Russia. And of course the results of this have already been decided, right? It's like they've already decided that they will be voting 102% in favor of joining Russia. Right? I mean, these territories, they are... First of all, they've been the victims of, like, Russia-supported, like, terrorist attacks and independence movements for years now. And there is, like, a genuine pro-Russia sentiment in those areas, but, like, probably not enough to, like, support just joining Russia and, like, not being part of Ukraine anymore, right? The news comes after the public chambers of the Luhansk and Donetsk People's Republics proposed to hold an immediate referendum on joining the Russian Federation. Yeah, so these regions, they have politicians that are just like puppets of Russia. Not surprising. I mean, if Russia could have American politicians on their payroll, then it's not a big surprise to just have them in, like, pro-Russian areas of Ukraine right next door. There's another reason why this is all just a sham. It will be held from September 23rd to 27th, which is very soon. Yeah, so all these people's republics have always been a sham. Of course, the Russian invasion of Ukraine has always been about imperialism, right? It's always been about just trying to take as much territory as they can get, right? They have to, like, make up these reasons that they're invading. They said it was denazification, right? They said it was I don't know, the tyranny of the Ukrainian government subjecting the people of East Ukraine to, like, brutal dictatorship, because there is, like, pro-Russian sentiments in the eastern part of Ukraine. Again, like, there's, like, ethnic Russians in there, but it's all like a pretense for invasion, because in this day and age you can't just invade a neighboring country just because you want to take their territory, right? Because that's not a good look. That's not a good look, sweetie. It's kind of problematic, actually. But I mean, Russia is a very imperialistic country by its very nature. I mean, Russian imperialism rewrites maps historically. And yeah, seems like Russia wishes that it could go back to, like, the 18th century way of politics, right? Yeah, Russia's real old school with its diplomacy, which reminds me of this next story. Putin ally dies after falling downstairs, day of Russian mobilization. Yes, Volodymyr over here, he mysteriously fall down flight of stairs, really clumsy. Volodymyr, known for falling many times. Yeah, how many is this now? A dozen? It was 13 as of the start of June. 13 Russian politicians dying under mysterious circumstances. Yeah, it's not surprising. it says Putin ally dies. Is it because he displayed some disloyalty to Putin? He said like, hey, this is not a good look, sweetie. This is kind of problematic. This is not going to look good on you in the long run. This is not going to be good for Russia at all. Probably said something along those lines. I mean, Putin is a authoritarian strongman dictator, so of course he demands absolute loyalty. And seems like he's taken this Ukraine war kind of personally too. We all know he's in that bizarre speech he gave about the reasons justifying the Ukrainian invasion at the very beginning. He talked a lot about like the history of Russia, about Ukraine historically being part of Russia, and it seemed like there are some theories about he knows that he has some health problems and he's probably going to die soon, so he wants to leave a legacy behind. So that's just another reason that he might just take opposition to this issue very personally. Didn't realize there were so many family members also dead, mostly stabbed or shot. Yikes. Omega yikes. Yeah. He started out trying to ethnically absorb Ukraine and is now in full gear into wiping out entire bloodlines within his inner circle. Ethnically absorbing Ukraine, what does that mean? It's a mix between shock at the awe at the utter obviousness, empathy for the family members, and fear for anyone actively speaking out. But genociders are gonna genocide, I guess. Yeah, authoritarians gonna authoritate, right? Yeah, this is what authoritarians do. If you display loyalty, whoops, you trip and fall out a window. Ooh, whoops. Your goulash contained a little bit of arsenic in it. Whoopsie. Looks like the Russian FDA dropped the ball on that one, right? You can make a better Game of Thrones than Game of Thrones based on Putin's rise to power and eventual fall. Yeah. Well, hopefully the ending of this will be more satisfying than the ending of Game of Thrones, right? We're going to hear a lot of interesting stories about Putin and his inner circle in 20 or 30 years long after he's dead. It'll make for great TV if it doesn't end nuclear. Yeah. That would be a really shitty final season for Russia, right? The season finale. Of course, if Russia balkanizes and splits off into like a bunch of other smaller states, then that'll be real Game of Thrones with like oligarchs just taking control of like huge regions, right? And becoming warlords, essentially, like just like feudal barons, right? That would be a fun show to watch. Of course, the big question in that situation is who gets the nukes, right? Because Russia has a lot of nukes, and we can't just have nukes just laying around in the hands of warlords. It'll be one thing if the Russians nuke each other, right? I mean, that's still bad. The radiation would spread all over the place, but like, I mean, the blast sites would be in Russia, but it'd be a different scenario if some rogue warlord decides to, I don't know, nuke Ukraine or like, I don't know, Lithuania or Poland or something. Then I don't know, we would have to nuke them. NATO would have to fire nukes off into Russia, which would be really, really not great. And then there's a possibility that since they're so strapped for cash, they would sell the nukes. Now, who would they sell the nukes to? That's the big question. Terrorists? Or other states that want nukes but can't get them? Maybe Iran, or maybe some other some other like poorer Central Asian country, Kazakhstan or something. If it goes nuclear, we'll hear it around a campfire instead of on TV. TV won't exist post-apocalypse, according to every fantasy story ever. Yeah. Well, if like electricity goes down, then yeah. Somehow YouTube will survive and still bombard you with premium ads. Yeah. Hopefully YouTube. I mean, if TV goes, then that's fine, but like, let's keep YouTube at least. Yeah, gravity is such an issue in Russia. Yes, gravity is Western anti-Kremlin new arm. Oh, that reminds me of that meme. Gravity, as you see, comrade, is just Western propaganda. Gravity is Western propaganda. In Soviet Russia, gravity is what? Is just Western propaganda. You see, comrades. No hands push-up. As you see, gravity is Western capitalist propaganda. Kirby's calling the SCP Foundation. Nice. Yeah, this guy has some kind of supernatural power, clearly. It looks like his boots, the tips of his boots are like stuck into the ground. Russia... Yeah, the secret Russia military technique. No hand push-ups. That's real badass. Yeah, no hands push-ups. That's a special skill you have to unlock. You have to max out your upper body skill tree. Your push-up skill tree to reach that skill. Creme de la Kremlin. A list. Suicide in quotation marks. Murder suicide. Murder suicide. Murder suicide. Found in the basement of a shaman's house. Had been seeking a hangover cure and was poisoned. Okay, well, maybe that wasn't an assassination. Maybe you just went to a really shitty shaman, right? I mean, if you're going to a shaman to cure a hangover, not even like a disease. You're hungover. Oh my gosh, yeah. These Russian dudes, you know, they're drinking vodka all night. That must give you a nasty hangover, dude. That, yeah. Imagine how drunk you have to be to, like, wake up the next morning and go to a shaman for a hangover cure. Maybe the shaman was, like, a shitty shaman who gave you the wrong, alternative medicine, like, shit. It's not even alt medicine, it's Russian alt medicine, right? So, like, alt medicine in the West is, like, at least benign and, like, harmless. But Russian alt medicine is like, yes, you take toad venom and mix with snake shit and cook it in deer blood and you drink a bottle of that. Fell off a boat and then fell downstairs. At least 5 Russian businessmen have died by apparent suicide in just 3 months. Son of a Russian oligarch accused of killing himself and his family. Says his father was murdered. Accused of killing himself. Chairman of Russian energy giant Lukoil dies after reportedly falling out of hospital window. Putin's keyman in the Arctic found dead. Oh, well, yeah. If you fall out off a ship in the Arctic, then yeah. Ooh, that must be a bad way to go. Drowning in freezing water? Oof. Yeah, do you die from drowning or do you die from the cold? Oof. That's a tough choice to make. Yeah. He was accused of killing himself. Yeah, that's, I guess suicide really is a crime. Okay. This is a new one where there are no convenient windows to use. Yeah, you'd think, yeah, it's like there are no nearby windows, so it's like, oh, gotta go find a stairwell instead. So should have switched to Linux because of the sanctions. Ah, that's why. Oh, there are no windows. Yeah. Following packages will be removed. Oligarchs. And then, do you wish to continue? Yes. Nice. Yeah, because pushing someone downstairs is like a new way of killing. I mean, yeah, because oh, this is it. Down one flight. He fell down several flights of stairs. That's a lot of stairs. Yeah. But you fall down one flight, get to the landing, roll around the corner to the next flight, repeat twice more. After seeing some of the replies to the comment, all I can think of is the skit about Aunt Bunny falling down the stairs from the Eddie Murphy video Delirious. I'm still alive, though I'm very badly burned. You shot me right in the arm. Perhaps you could throw a bandage or some antibacterial cream. The wound is beginning to smell like almonds. That is not a good sign. That's from Austin Powers. Austin Powers reference, yeah. The guy falls to his death in the... But he's like, oh, I'm still alive. I'm not quite dead yet. Well, he's almost dead. Oh, well, he'll be dead. He'll be dead real quick. Quite soon. But I'm not dead. I can still make it. Yeah, how do you fall down several flights? Yeah, you'll have to fall in a very special way to go down one flight and then loop arounds. But would that mean like they've kept throwing him down flights of stairs, the assassins, until he died? That's dark. They were like, yes, he is not quite dead, Ivan. Throw him down again. That's dark. Have you ever wondered why the crime rate is so low in Sanford, yet the accident rate is so high? Nicholas Angel Hot Fuzz. Fix the writing to his actual quote. Yeah. Oh, wow. Yeah, that's a lot of upvotes. Oh, and awards. Nice. Yeah, the crime rate is low, but the accident rate is high. That's, I guess that's preferable. No luck catching killers then. Even if you could arrest stairs, they're notoriously recalcitrant witnesses. Almost impossible to successfully prosecute. Yeah, you hear stories like this all the time regarding staircases, sometimes a second and third story. Well, they're usually up to something. Yeah, stairs are always up to something. You can never trust them. They're always trying to trip you up. Yeah, seems, oh, staircases. I see it. I see what you did there. Okay. Yeah, staircases as in cases where stairs killed people. His family is devastated and chooses to go to Gulag for vacation, yeah. Where's the other thing I saw? Yeah, they have to, If Russia wants to beat Ukraine, maybe they should build stairs and windows everywhere. This has proven to be far more effective at being lethal than their own army. Maybe that's the plan all along, yeah. Yeah, maybe Russian construction is just so terrible that, these really are just accidents, and like people are always falling out of windows because, like, I don't know, they're built so poorly that if you lean against a window just slightly, it'll just pop out of the frame and you'll just fall to your death. Yeah, maybe the accident rate in Russia is so high because it's just there really are just accidents happening all the time. Scientist Anatoly Gershlenko, 72, fell from a great height, according to the university, which described his death in the Russian capital as an accident, of course. He's the former head of the Moscow Aviation Institute. Okay. Paramedics called, announced dead. Place where he reports he exists is still unknown. He had links to the Russian Defense Ministry from 2007 to 2015. He'd been working as an advisor to the current rector, Mikhail Pogosyan, not Pog. Latest of several Russian businessmen, foreign figures, and former allies of Putin who have decided in mysterious circumstances since the invasion of Ukraine, and the third this month. Only a week ago, the bodies of businessman Ivan Pekorin was reportedly found dead in the city of Vladivostok in Russia's Far East. The death of Pekorin, the top manager of the Far East and Arctic Development Corporation, was reported by his company on September 12th. He reportedly drowned. Ivan's death was an irreparable loss for friends and colleagues that were lost for the corporation. We can offer our sincere condolences to family and friends. Yeah, it's not something I don't get. Like, if you keep killing so many people, like, these aren't just like grunts, right? These aren't just like low-level officers. These are like the heads of, what was it? The rector of the Moscow Aviation Institute. He was a high-level businessman in an energy corporation. It's like, if you keep killing these people, you're gonna run out of people, right? Eventually, like, you're gonna run out of like qualified, good people. Yeah, he's the top manager for this development corporation. It's like, if you keep killing people, and the people that they're killing are like good, honorable people, right? That's why they're being killed. They're being like purged because they are strong enough, or willing enough to stand up to Putin and stand up for what they believe is right. And it's like, you're killing these people, and like, if you kill all of those people, the people who are brave enough and strong enough to stand up for what they believe in, who is going to be left? The cowards who are too afraid to speak up, or the psychopaths who actually support you, right? It's like another reason authoritarian states inevitably get outcompeted by more libertarian, like democratic states. Chairman of Russia's second largest oil producer and biggest private oil company, Lukoil, is found dead after falling from the window of a hospital in Moscow. List of all the Russian officials and public figures who have died under mysterious circumstances since the beginning of the Ukraine war can be found here. This guy's death was announced the day of the Putin declaring a partial mobilization in Russia. His decree includes a plan to call up some 300,000 reservists to help the Kremlin meet its operational goals in Ukraine. 300,000. That is a lot. And it's like, that's a lot of families that are going to be pissed off, right? That's a lot of guys who are not going to be working their jobs, right? It's a lot of people who would maybe not be great soldiers. They would be against the war. They would be protesting the war, maybe because they don't want to be drafted, right? One-way flights from Moscow to visa-free countries were sold out within minutes of Putin's televised address. Protests against the mobilization order were seen in a number of Russian cities. Yeah, so that's another thing. Seems like people are trying to escape the draft, which is totally understandable. Like, I would not want to be in Russia for multiple reasons. I mean, Russians have already had to endure all this, all the hardships that come along with the invasion, like being sanctioned, being having all this pressure put on their economy by like the greater world. They've had really bad economic conditions that they had to endure, and now they're going to be drafted and sent to fight in Ukraine. It's like, we don't want to live in this shithole country anymore. So flights out of Russia sell out after Putin's orders partial call-up. Yeah. So flights out of Russia sell out after Putin orders partial call-up. One-way flights out of Russia were rocketing in price and selling out fast on Wednesday after President Vladimir Putin ordered the immediate call-up of 300,000 reservists. Again, 300,000. That is a lot of people. Those are people who are not going to be working their jobs. There's going to be people who are pissed off and might want to protest the government, might want to do some sabotage, even might want to do some like direct action against the government. Those are people who have families who will be very pissed off if they die, and will be pissed off that they're drafted at all, but especially pissed off if they end up dying. Putin's announcement was made in an early morning television address and raised fears that some men of fighting age would not be allowed to leave the country. Yeah, if you are of fighting age, you want to get out of there as fast as possible. Just make up a reason. Or make up a reason, as we talked about before, to not be drafted. Make yourself useless on the battlefield. That means, in some cases, some people break their own legs just so they can't fight anymore. Or break their own arms, or some guy, there was a story about some guy who got food poisoning on purpose just to get out of being conscripted into the Soviet military. And I've also seen comments that you can bribe Russian officials to not draft you. Just slip them a crisp $20 bill to say, hey, go draft that other guy over there. You go. I've heard the neighbors next door have a son who is of fighting age. Yeah, it would not be very honorable, but it could work. I mean, if you're just worried about yourself, right? So. Yeah, it's in a lot of these like really poor countries, like Russia's really broke and has been for a while. These countries are very corrupt, and it's really easy to bribe people, right? Yeah, the cops in those countries, they take bribes very easily, and honestly, if you have money, in a lot of countries, if you have money, you don't have a lot of things to worry about. You can just pay your way out of everything. So yeah. Defense Minister Sergei Shoigu said the call-up would be limited to those with experience as professional soldiers, and that students and conscripts would not be called up. Conscripts would not be called up? How many people have experience as professional soldiers? 300,000 reservists as in people who've had military training but have never like served in combat, I guess. The Kremlin declined to comment on whether the borders would be closed to those subjects to the mobilization order, and asked people to be patient as the law is clarified. Meanwhile, Google Trends data showed a spike in searches for Avia sales, Russia's most popular flight booking site. Direct flights from Moscow to Istanbul in Turkey and Yerevan in Armenia, both destinations that allow Russians to enter without a visa, were sold out on Wednesday, according to Avia sales. Yeah. Countries that, yeah, Turkey and Armenia are countries that probably would welcome people from Russia. I mean, people who would be of working age, especially like people who want to avoid military service. Flights from Moscow to Istanbul via Turkish Airlines were either all booked or unavailable Sunday. Some routes with stopovers, including those from Moscow to Tbilisi, the capital of Georgia, were also unavailable, while the cheapest flights to Dubai cost more than 300,000 rubles, $5,000. Also, $1 costs 600 rubles. That's a hell of an inflation. Yeah, that's another thing Russians had to endure, is all the inflation, all the economic crash that happened after the Ukraine invasion kicked off, right? The head of Russia's tourism agency said no restrictions have been imposed on traveling abroad so far. I mean, it's a pretty big L for Russia. I mean, if you're a guy who could be drafted but doesn't want to be drafted, then you're just gonna leave Russia, right? I mean, what reason do you have to stay in Russia? Russia has been going down the shitter for the better part of, years now. Or since the Russian invasion began in March. Man, it's been a while, hasn't it? Russia had to endure all these sanctions being, and all this pressure being put on their economy. And it's been tough for Russia. Russians are accustomed to hard times, I guess, but like, there's got to be a breaking point at some point. It was possible to buy a one-way ticket in the morning for 200,000 to 300,000 rubles, but not anymore. There's a panic demand from people who are afraid that they won't be able to leave the country afterwards. Yeah, that's the real fear. When a country starts to slide into authoritarianism, it's like, who knows how far they will go, right? We've seen this in all sorts of other countries that go down the dark path. A lot of people just flee just because they don't want any part in it. Yeah, so looks like there are some countries that are accepting Russians, but some countries are not. Unfortunately, Latvia says it won't offer refuge to Russians fleeing mobilization, and let's see, and Finland says it will ban it as well. European Union members, Latvia, Lithuania, and Estonia, which border Russia, will not offer refuge to any Russians fleeing Moscow's mobilization of troops, their minister said on Wednesday. That's a big deal because those are countries you don't have to fly to get to from Russia, right? You can go by land to those countries. But if they're not taking Russians, then who is? There's only so many places that they can fly to. We've seen Turkey and Armenia are two places, maybe Georgia, but yeah, hopefully everyone who wants to get out will be able to. A refusal to fulfill one's civic duty in Russia or to desire to do so does not constitute sufficient grounds for being granted asylum in another country. I mean, civic duty to do what exactly? Fight in an imperialist war of aggression? On Twitter, Latvian Foreign Minister Edgars Rinkevics cited security concerns for the refusal. Lithuanian Interior Ministry said each asylum case will be weighed separately. The three countries and Poland began turning away Russian citizens from their borders at midnight on Monday, saying they should not travel to other countries at war with Ukraine. And this excludes dissidents seeking refuge in the EU, along with lorry drivers, refugees, and permanent residents of EU countries, as well as those visiting close family members. Yeah, that's tough. Yeah, we've, so this is a thing that happens when, countries, start to go down the path of, like, being more authoritarian and, cracking down on dissent in the country, because, if they're willing to draft men of fighting age to go fight in a war for them, then who knows what else they would be willing to do, right? Who knows what else they will ask of the countrymen? And of course, the situation in Russia will probably continue to deteriorate, which will, the sanctions. I don't know if there are any more sanctions that could be put on Russia in this situation, but I mean, all the sanctions that could be put on Russia were probably already put on them. So it will probably continue to deteriorate as time goes on. I mean, if Russia is like spending all this money on its military endeavors, it's not going to. That's money that's not being spent on rebuilding its economy, right? Oh, this is for blocking Russian tourists, not asylum seekers or dissidents. Yeah. If you're an asylum seeker, then that's different. Then you have a real reason for leaving. How can you differentiate at the border, though? They won't believe you when you say, I'm a dissident, will they? They'll say you're a tourist. In Lithuania, they put you in a special center for political refugees, and you have to show any evidence. Evidence that you're a political refugee? I mean, what evidence? Maybe, I don't know, some bruises from being beaten by cops or something? Evidence, or maybe literature about anti-government, anti-war movements. Photos of you protesting in public space, an article in press with mild criticism of governments, etc. already makes you eligible. Okay. You Mother Russia. You were sent back to Mother Russia. Finland does not wish to be transit country and obey all Russians, even if they have Schengen travel visa issued. Asylum seekers and dissidents can still apply for asylum. Just regular Russians trying to pass the border would be barred from entering EU. Okay. So, it's good that they're letting in asylum seekers or whatever. Yeah, there has to be something to do for those people who are fleeing persecution. And then even China is calling for a ceasefire in Ukraine. So China and Russia have always been like tentative allies, because they're both like, first they were both like socialists, now they're not, both sort of not. I mean, Russia is definitely not socialist, but they've always been at odds with each other, even if when they were socialists. But they've always been part of like this anti-Western, anti-American power bloc, right? So they've always been they've always had like some common goals, even if it's like very broad, abstract goals. But like, yeah, it seems like Russia has like issues with China. Russia probably is like an imperialist force, so it wants to like take over whatever they can, right? I'm not sure exactly why Russia has or Russia and China have beef with each other. Can we look it up? Why do Russia and China Russia-China relationship? How each of these two countries challenge the United States in different ways. Yeah. Yeah, Russia is by default more beholden to China than it was prior to the invasion. The relationship is stronger by virtue of Russia's own strategic miscalculation. Russia has driven itself further into China's embrace. And China obviously recognizes that, given Russia's economic difficulties right now, it can extract concessions on imports, particularly of energy. Rather than condemning Russia's aggression, China is faulting NATO and the United States, and saying NATO shouldn't have expanded in the aftermath of the Cold War, that NATO has been insufficiently accommodating of Russia's concerns. Oh, that's too bad. Publicly, Russia and China are doubling down rhetorically and having a conversation on establishing a mechanism to circumvent the US dollar. Yeah, so again, they're like anti-American, but like in different ways. On the other side of the ledger, it is certainly more strained. Obviously, Putin and Xi know what they said to each other prior to Russia's invasion of Ukraine. But my hypothesis would be that China probably did believe that Russia was either going to conduct a so-called special military operation, one that would be limited in scope, or if Russia did launch a full-fledged invasion, Ukraine would capitulate so quickly that it would be over in a matter of days. Yeah. So it seems like Russia has to ask China for help, right? Because China's like the only nation that's strong enough to and willing to help Russia. Russia regards Central Asia as part of its sphere of influence, but China wants to limit India's influence in the region, while Russia wants to maintain its partnership with India. Yeah, I forgot about India. Yeah, India is an important country in this situation. After the US withdrawal from Afghanistan, you can already see some signs of misalignments. The longer the Ukraine war drags on, the more difficult it will become for Russia or for China to avoid that policy trilemma. Yeah. Okay, so China was thinking, how do we mitigate instability coming out of Afghanistan and advance the Belt and Road Initiative? Yeah, so China is trying to, like, snake its tendrils of influence into other countries with this Belt and Road Initiative, right? Trying to build up infrastructure. And then Russia regards Central Asia as part of its sphere of influence, whatever that means. I mean, Kazakhstan is sort of sandwiched in between Russia and China, right? I wonder if that's going to be a area of conflict, because I heard, yeah, that's part of China's Belt and Road Initiative. They're building a lot of infrastructure in there, getting a lot of commerce to go through that area, and then Russia and India have good relationships, but China does not have good relationships with India. Okay, so okay. Beijing does not want to abandon Russia, but it recognizes. How do you simultaneously uphold your commitment, at least nominally, to sovereignty and territorial integrity, strengthen your partnership with Russia, and also uphold your relationship with the West? It's a very difficult balancing act. Yeah, because China is a very big trading partner with the rest of the world, so wants to maintain that. Okay, so let's see what China thinks of this. Ceasefire when Russia called for mobilization, so they can essentially move the 300k troops in fortified positions without fear of any retaliation. Ceasefire only if they return the occupied territory to Ukraine. Yeah, it's funny to call for a ceasefire like after territory has already been taken. It's like if you really wanted to like resolve the situation, you would, like, I don't know, want to return the territory, right? But and then run their sham referendums in preparation to validate their claims they're the ones that are attacked by, I don't know, evil mutant Ukrainian super soldiers. Yeah, the Nazi super soldiers. Yeah. What will happen once Russian troops are out of Ukraine? Hopefully, I mean, we'll see. We'll see how much territory Ukraine actually manages to retake. Ukraine sets up garrisons, reinforces the border, and it will be hell to reinvade again. Yeah, oh, will it be trench warfare? That'll be rough. Haven't seen trench warfare in how long? A long time. Mobilization for an invasion took weeks. If Russia doesn't want to reinvade, they'll probably try to negotiate out of sanctions for leaving Ukraine be. That'll be, yeah, that'll take a while. Ceasefire will only benefit Russia at the moment because it will give them a chance to reinforce their lines. Full steam ahead, yeah. I mean, Who knows what Russia was really trying to gain? If they actually believe that they could take the entire country of Ukraine? Right, but maybe if they can hold on to like a little sliver of dirt in the DPR and LPR, maybe that would be considered a victory. I don't know. I mean, how could it possibly be worth it after all the economic woes that they've been through? Anyway, yeah, that's it for Russia news.